There we go. Okay, Sal. Do you want me to stop sharing so you can share?
Uh,
Or Callie's gonna
actually,
have to share anyways to do the
yeah,
demo.
I
So,
think, yeah, and then we'll switch over.
okay.
All right, welcome in everyone. We are now recording for October 21st for the Chaos working groups. We're going to start with the newest K8 demo. So, Callie, take us away.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Um, yeah, so let's do a little bit of a walkthrough, especially for people who are familiar with 8 Knot and were familiar with what it looked like before. This is a pretty big change and positive change. So this is a new welcome page. We can go over to visualizations. And now, whenever you are on any of the page, you can hyperlink down to any of the visualizations. One of the things that's really nice is that now you can see the names of all the visualizations on the page, and then just choose which one you want to go and look at. I think this is a lot more user friendly, and you get a lot better view of what is available to you versus just a sea of visualizations to be based off of. Um, if there's anything people want me to specifically look at, I can. But yeah, I just wanted to show the new design. It's pretty dramatically different than the old one. And yeah, we're really excited about it.
Dramatically prettier.
Yes. And
No, I
yeah,
don't.
the chaos, this design came from Chaos Africa as well, which I think is a really big show of collaboration across the working groups, which is cool to see. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really great. I really like this. I like that it's got more than just the green. The like the khaki color originally was that was just not my favorite. But I really like how you can use the sidebar to switch between visualizations. I think that's pretty slick because before it was sometimes a little bit hard to find things. So I think this is looking really great.
Yeah, please, people play with it, submit issues if you run into anything. We'll definitely, another thing to kind of point out is we're looking at our pages, and I would say the page names could be changing. Um, I don't think that this is the best way of grouping all the visualizations, more around the like contributions, contributor behavior, and contributor types. I understand the grouping. I don't think that it's useful. So, feedback on better ways to group the visualizations is definitely welcome among any type of suggestions, bug fix it, like bug identification, all that good stuff. Please play with it and break it.
Cool. Is there like a specific time by which you want to get sort of a feedback loop on this, like 2 weeks or so?
If people need a definite, if people need a timeline to feel a sense of urgency, then 2 weeks. If they don't,
Always
like,
open to improvement.
yeah, where it's yeah, like this is an open source project that's being now actively worked on and maintained. So issues and things like that will just be worked on in perpetuity.
Cool. All right, excellent. This has been really cool. All right. Anything
I've
else that anyone needs to see
Oh
with a
yeah,
group?
I just had a question. Sean, does your instance also have the new look and feel?
It does not because I
Okay.
have I'm running like 8 instances right now, and I have to change the whole Docker Compose structure, and I haven't been willing to do that this week.
Yeah, fair enough. No rush. I was just curious.
No, it's I need to test it and make sure it works, and I don't have a test machine just at the moment.
Cool. Awesome.
Sorry, Kali, can we add the link to draw
Yeah.
feedbacks for the 8 Not project on the meeting notes?
Oh, if you want to do okay, yeah. It's just the 8 Knot repository, but I'll link in 8 not issues. Oh, the link to the instance is already up, but feedback would just be to open a issue on the repository.
Cool. All right. Anything else that we want to cover on the 8 nights or bring it up on GitHub as we move forward? All good? Okay. So next on the agenda are practitioner guide updates. Any updates there?
Yeah, so the viability guide is actually done. There's a PR, and so that's waiting to move to the website. But I need Elizabeth to create the website page before that PR gets merged. And she's been having, she has more urgent things to work on the website than my little practitioner guide. So she'll get to it when she has a chance. So that's all ready to move to the website as soon as she's ready to do that.
Yeah, there's been some plugin upgrade issues that have actually broken the site from time to time in the last couple of weeks or 3 weeks. So, I mean, it's like touching a Jenga right
Yeah.
now.
To the point where some of the plugins we were using, we just can't use anymore. And so she's finding new ways to display the content. So she's got it under control, but she's spending a lot of her time on website things that are more urgent than getting a new practitioner guide up. And I don't have an update on the research software impact one. I know they've been working on that in the university working group, but I think people have been really busy. So I'm not sure if that's moved forward since he came and gave his last update. Oh, and then the usage and adoption guide, that was one Callie was going to work on when she had time.
Yes, I'm hoping to just actually start this up soon.
Sweet. That's all I had for practitioner guides.
Okay, excellent. And project updates. What about foundation stats?
Okay, so from my end, the last time we met, we had a major blocker with the Apache Foundation metadata, but Sal is still currently working on trying to unblock us in that regard. But while she's doing that, I proceeded to getting the data we needed for the Eclipse and the CNCF, which I think was a pretty much not so stressful job to do. So I'm just at the preliminary end of checking basic statistics, which I did not plan to report in this meeting yet. So I believe when we have the Apache, we can report the 3 article.
Yeah, and the current deadline on the Apache stuff is never gonna have to be after October 30th because I'm finishing my book, and also I'll just put out an announcement at a meetup and see if I can get people to donate like 2 hours of time. Because it's really just it's such a low level thing, but it has to be done manually. So yeah, if I can't get that, then I'll just put my own 6 hours into this. But yes, let's aim for mid-November Apache, but that doesn't stop us from moving forward with everything else. And Kelly, I know that I said I was going to ask or put in a request because you know someone who kind of covers the Apache stuff, but I want to be very clear when I get there about exactly what metadata was hardest for me to scrape or access. So I will get that to you soon.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, it's my manager, so it's pretty whenever.
Okay, excellent. I think that's it on foundation stats right now. Forks and relicensing, nothing at the moment. Okay, what about localization stats for Fedora Linux? Is
Hello,
this?
can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
Nice to meet you. I never heard of CHAOSS until last week. My name is Jean-Baptiste, pronoun he. I'm part of the Fedora Linux community, and I'm working in localization. I have produced statistics at the operating system level, which means across all the 23,000 packages that exist in Fedora to measure the language progress per language. The content is published. It is ugly. Please forgive me for the ugliness of this.
Do
It's
you
a
want
proof
to
that
share your screen and kind of walk us through it?
yes, I can try to do this. How do I share my screen? Share screen, authorize, full screen, yes. Does it work?
Yes.
Yeah, we see
Okay.
stuff through there.
So there's a lot of Fedora releases. The last time that it was published on this website in production was Fedora 39, which is statistics from 1.5 years. There is 23,000 packages. In these packages, the scripting is able to detect 2,000 packages with actual translation files. And there are 200,000 translation files that were found. So there is only one file format found, in which we can detect 343 different languages. And for each languages, there is the translation progress. So for example, if you want to know if Aragonese is translated, which packages are translated, you get the list. I will not go any further into details because this is quite a lot of data statistics everywhere. The
That's the
important
point
thing
of this group.
okay.
This is the group to do this, I will say. So, because my first
So
question was like, I see the values. How did you get these values? Is like the first question.
I have difficulties to hear you. Sometimes your voice is at a understanding level, and sometimes the sound is very low.
Just it would be interesting to see how you got this information.
It's a big and complex subject that I'll be happy to document because I need to improve this. What is interesting here is that Fedora, a Linux operating system, is the constitution of a large group of packages, and these packages we can also access for old version of the operating system. So for example, here you have the exact same statistics, but from Fedora 10. Fedora 10 was like 10 years ago. So there is the opportunity to identify over time what's the health of a language community. And that's my goal. I would like to be able to provide a global measurement of language community health in open source and question if our way to work as a community, as a free software community, is effective or not. There is so much more I could say, but I would like to keep it, I want to keep it simple for now. I can dive into whatever detail you would like.
Yeah, this is interesting. So at this point, do you have like, is this you working on this? Do you have a team around this? What kind of support can we bring around this? Because it looks like you have some interesting data. We could explore it. We could do a hackathon with it. What are you thinking? What is your end goal with this data?
So to the question, what kind of support can I get? First kind of support is hardware. I broke a hard drive processing terabytes of data. This is kind of a joke, but it's reality. Second kind of support is the automation is quite complex and it's not working very well. I need some help to have the processing improved so that I can focus on analyzing gaps between one version X and version Y of version Y, sorry, Y is French, and version Y of a package to detect bugs, anomalies, gaps in the data. I already tried to produce some statistics, but there are some anomalies and I have trouble to understand where the anomaly comes from. Is it from a bug? Is it because of a gap in the package in some Fedora versions? So, and then I will need some help to identify which questions we would like to show on the website, and so that the website is pushing a message and a situation. For now, it's only showing that this is for real and there are some statistics, but it's not answering to any questions. So this is the kind of help I would be interesting to get.
Okay. Does anyone have any first comments? Otherwise, I mean, this is interesting, but I mean, this is such high-dimensional data. We kind of need to take a moment to look at it and get an idea. Would you be open to just putting an issue onto our repository for the Chaos Data Science Working Group? And then in about 2 weeks, we could come back and have a thread of conversation from there, because I think really people need to take a look at this to get some first thoughts. But beyond that, any first thoughts from anyone on this call?
I just put this in chat, but I would definitely be interested in a more in-depth view in like the gathering and processing of the data. 'Cause I think that's where, I mean, if you're trying to figure out where the anomalies is, sometimes even just talking through it with other people, I think we might be able to get to that answer of whether the anomaly is from the process and from the data, or if that is just the true, like, what is happening. I think my opinions and stuff goes more along once I understand how the data is being gathered and processed.
I went ahead and added that to the section for the upcoming meeting agendas, so we can put it on and follow up there. Not to cut this discussion short, people can keep talking about it for now, but we'll talk about it again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think we need to give it a look and give it a think. Okay, but this is very cool, interesting data. So thank you so much for bringing it to us. This is the right spot on the internet for it.
You
Um,
are welcome. Please share with me. Could you please share the link to the repository in which I have to create an issue? Because as I am very new to the CHAOSS community,
Yes, we
thank
will make sure to get that into the discussion here. Okay. Now next on the agenda, and I think the last for this is about repel content and moving that over.
Yes, I put that on there. I've talked about this vaguely with Dawn, but I wanted to kind of kick this off into a larger thing for people who do not know. Under Project Aspen, there is a project called Repel, which was pretty much our open research, and that predated the Data Science Working Group. Now that the Data Science Working Group exists, I think that work and those resources make a lot more sense to be under the Data Science Working Group, and I would like to continue, like, pretty much move over all of the work as well as starting the process of doing any further notebooks in the Data Science Working Group. So just trying to figure out the actual, like, hey, here are the resources and stuff that we have. How, like, structurally should this be added to the repository? I can just share, or let's see if I can replace the current share.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it now. Because pretty much more than if looking at the Rappel repository, the main things is these all of these notebooks. One thing that I think that we might want to think about is that all of these notebooks are like for working with an Augur repository, which I actually think is a benefit because a lot of times people are like, "How do I get started?" And among other things, there's like a getting started here notebook, which this all is generic to connecting to any Augur database, and that's how all of these notebooks are. And so I do think it's like a useful resource, like that. Just having all of this as starter ground for working with the data and Augur, I think is useful, as well as, I mean, we've done a lot of different research here. It's also the grounds where we develop any of the more complex visualizations that end up going into 8 knot. Usually, any visualization is more complex. We start on a notebook, so then the review process is on the pre-processing and the data analysis itself, and then the second round is for its integration into 8 knot because we found that to be very dense if you did that in one go. So, and these kind of have a little bit of notes. I've talked a lot. This doesn't have to be like the full conversation. I just want to start like getting started on this so then I can archive this repository and officially kind of be like the data science working group is the research grounds for Red Hat.
Yeah, I really like the idea of moving some of this into the data science repository. We could put it at the top level and call it something like Augur analysis, or you can keep the
Mm-hmm.
Rappel name if that's easier. But we could probably put it at kind of the same level as the practitioner guide and the publications and events and things. Sean, you've got your hand up.
Kelly, are you suggesting moving the entire repository or select parts of it?
Most of the other parts is just scaffolding. I would just say that the note, like this directory that I'm under, like the
Oh,
notebooks folder, I would say, like I think what Dawn is saying fits pretty well of just saying like Augur data processing. Because I mean, this is all Augur, and then saying in the README that this is like kind of where this all came from. What is this from? Because there's honestly some pretty deep analysis that's been done of like ecosystem analysis and just different things that have happened over the years within Red Hat. Um, so yeah, it would be kind of what Dawn's talking about. I think the notebooks folder is the only one that's actually relevant.
well, I'm looking at the repository right now, and I'm not, I must be stupid. I'm not. Oh, there. Okay, I am stupid. Yes, I found the notebooks directory. Yeah. Okay. I agree. I agree with that idea. I do think the notebooks is where, and this looks a little reorganized since the last time I used it, but this looks right because the graph analysis used to be its own folder, I believe.
It is still.
Okay. No, I mean, I don't remember it being under notebooks, but maybe I'm wrong there as well because I've already been wrong once in this set of words I'm saying.
Yeah, this structure has been the case since almost the beginning of Rappel. So I will.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you then. Bringing the notebooks over would be a great contribution.
Sounds good. I'll start kind of thinking about how to do it because I do think that there needs to be like the notebooks themselves, I think are pretty well, like there's a lot of scaffolding in the notebooks explaining what's being done, all of that stuff. But this directory itself, I don't think is the best structured. And we might just want to discuss whether we want to do like an initial merge to all the notebooks over and then doing a second round of okay, let's rename the folders and repopulate the readmes because a lot of these readmes haven't been touched in years since the initial research that was worked on were done. um
Yeah.
and and so that would probably be my next question is that would people want like would it be that doing like an initial PR with just everything and then doing the like kind of cleanup, or if I should be doing the cleanup first in that first initial PR when I move all this over.
I'm good either way. whichever is easiest for you. I think if you bring over the data and it's not particularly clean, let's put that at the top of the README while we clean it
Yeah.
up. But I think as long as we let people know that we're still working on cleaning up the data, I'd be okay with that. If it's easier for you to clean up the data first and then move it over, that's cool too. I would say
I think
whatever's
it'd be
easiest for
easier
you
to
because I
I
know
think
it's
it, I think it'd be easier for me to move it over first, so then it's like in the structure, and then I'm not just like edit it. Yeah, I think that would be a lot easier because it would also because I'd personally like to archive Rappel in its current state, and then moving over the resources. What was the name that you like? I like the idea that you had. It was like Augur. What was
auger
the
auger analysis maybe.
yeah? Because then I would do like I think Augur analysis is a good name, and then like the README, I'd probably want to populate more. Be like, these are for notebooks that are designed to connect to an Augur database. This is research that was historically done in Rappel, and kind of explain that process. Is I want to, yeah, we I think this will be something that I work on definitely before the end of the year, if not sooner, because I want this to be in this group. And
Yeah.
if anybody's curious about any of this research as they're looking through it, let me know. I'm happy to like some of this stuff, all of the stuff I was directly involved in. Some of it I did not do myself, but I am able to speak about it. And there's a lot of different presentations that were done about a lot of this different work at different points by a lot of very fantastic data scientists through the years. Some of this is probably a little bit out of date, but I do think that there's a lot to still be learned if you're not familiar with some of the stuff that's been tried.
Yeah, there's a lot of good work in here. I've looked at these notebooks.
Okay. Any additional notes, advice, thoughts?
The one thing we should probably do is just be really super clear that we have Red Hat management approval because you are effectively donating this code to the Linux Foundation.
Yes. Me and Brian and I have talked about this. This is why I'm bringing it. Like, whenever I was MIA for the last 2 or so weeks, because I was in all day meetings. This is this was something that was discussed, and I was given the go ahead to do. It's also a lot easier because we're just archiving the repository and moving over the resources than a full move over, which eventually will probably open that discussion about 8 knot because I know in the James era we were talking more seriously about 8 knot getting moved over to CHAOSS, and that's still something um, on the table. And yeah, just that timeline. That one's a little bit more complicated. Not a little bit, a lot more.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
it's a
sure.
substantial investment. Yeah.
Yeah. So I tell you what, Callie, when you do the PR, can you tag Brian Profit in it and just have Brian leave a comment on the PR that we have Red Hat corporate approval for the change?
Yes. Yep, I can do that. That'll be easy.
Cool. That way, if anyone questions it later, we have something we can point people back to.
Yep, and then because I know, I mean, Brian's always the for it has no problem speaking up, but it does make it easier if we're gonna be like, here's the PR. This was all document like where everything is publicly documented instead of just conversations that have happened in person.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. I think that takes us to the end of our agenda. Is there anything else that we want to cover on this call before we go? I know that it is conference season. So there's a couple of conferences on the way. Is there anything anyone wants to say about abstracts and the like?
I will just mention it's in the reminders, but the FOSS Backstage CFP closes on Monday. So if you want to go to that and submit a talk about chaos data, now's your week to do it. And the Scale CFP also closes soon. So if you're interested in talking about chaos data, metrics, things like that, you want to get those submissions in.
We probably should put the Chaos Con EU submission
Oh
is
yeah.
also coming in. Um,
Yeah, fair enough. I haven't done that. I got it. Nope. I thought I had it.
I'll also throw out there because I think I'm the only one. If anybody's going to JupyterCon, let me know. I'll be going in a couple of weeks just as an attendee, so we'll be curious to see what it's like and happy to um, give a little bit of a overview on the event if people are interested in this working group. It's Jupiter's first solo conference, so I'm there to kind of one attend because I've been using Jupyter for probably close to 10 years now, and as well as kind of scout the event to see if Red Hat is going to become more involved in it in the future. So it's very topical considering, well, everything that we would be donating over to this working group is a Jupyter notebook.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have never been, and I can't wait to hear you tell us what it was like
Yeah.
and what happened. So I look forward to
Right.
maybe a
Okay.
little trip report.
Mhm.
Yeah. Petition for Callie to bring a like tips and tricks of like 2025 Jupyter Notebook stuff back to us. Like a one pager or a little presentation. Tell us what you know. So,
I will say that it will not be the most innovative. Um I have baked tried and true methods that have been hardened over the years, and I'm hoping that they will become softened by this event of introducing because I think there's probably much more functionality to Jupyter notebooks than what I use them for because I just have so many um, most of my notebook or the notebooks that I've worked on, you will see a very clear structure to them because I usually iterate. And I think that it will be good to kind of break myself out of it because I think there's a lot more that can be done with Jupyter notebooks than the days to which the fun fact in the early days of Jupyter and the early days of my technical experience, I actually destroyed the filing system on my computer using Jupyter Hub in college.
Wow.
Um, yes,
That's
I've
quite
it
never managed
allowed
to do
achievement.
that. You have a
it
gift. You have a gift,
it
my friend.
It allowed me to combine my documents, downloads, and home folder into one. And I didn't understand as a sophomore in college that that was showing me the actual files on my computer. I thought it was just its own environment. And I thought I was doing a great job organizing my file structure. And that destroyed the filing structure on that computer
no.
forever. Um, So, fun fact, I've had a long history with Jupiter.
Oh, this is why we always separate user space. Users can't be trusted.
Wow.
You-
No, especially not 19-year-old users who don't know what they're doing.
Oh well. Okay, well, we'll see what you bring back from Jupyter Notebook
Yeah,
Con.
I'm excited.
Um,
I'm hoping to learn a lot of stuff and see how people are using Jupyter in ways that I might not be thinking of. Um,
yeah. And that's just a general good reminder for everyone to use virtual environments on their machines, just in case.
Oh,
Just
wow.
in case you
yes.
accidentally touch
I mean,
important file
unless
system.
you're unless you're only ever working on one project, you better be using a virtual environment.
I learned that
Yeah.
one the hard way. Um,
Oh, I also want to say, I think reproducibility, I think across all our projects is incredibly important. And having those isolated VMs, like if we were to all agree on and standardize around a specific VM for our data science projects, we could explode. But that's a discussion for another time or an idea for another
Interesting.
time.
I'm glad
Yeah.
that you brought that up because I might try to because I think that there is a world with Jupyter like because I mean most of us here and most of the things that we have shown are Jupyter notebooks. A lot of us use Jupyter notebooks a lot whether they're connecting to Augur or not. Maybe there is a notebook image of Jupyter that we want to use that is like reproducible and like container. I mean, I do Jupyter notebooks in a um, OpenShift AI environment, which is just Red Hat, which was Rhodes, which was Red Hat open source or data science. It has had many names. It is just a hosted place that I can do Jupyter that is not local to my computer because I am terrified of destroying my computer. Um, refer to the story you just heard. Um,
Yeah.
but I think it would actually I don't know, I think that's like something worth talking about, and maybe I'd actually finally start working not in a like full on other environment for Jupyter stuff, and I can work through my trauma.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like specifically for you, use a VM next time.
I don't think I knew what a VM was. I mean, I didn't know anything when I went to college. Like we're talking about, like I was like, do 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 do. I like was probably yeah. I knew nothing. Um,
All right.
no computer background, but this is anyways, I want to make sure we talk about we I see that Michael Winters with Fedora. There's been a lot of Fedora things, and so I want to make sure that the Fedora peeps get a chance to other peeps gets a chance to talk about what they're working on and what they're looking to get out of this group and stuff like that.
Sounds good. Okay. I think that is actually it on our agenda. Is there anything we
I
want
know
to make?
Michael. That's why I was teeing
No,
up for
the
Michael.
introductions. We want to cycle back and do some
Yeah.
introductions at the end
I
of the
thought that
meeting.
was for next time. I'm so sorry.
Hello,
Yep.
Michael.
Hey, can you see me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
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 Cool. Yeah, hi. So I'm just a random community member who is also unemployed and decided to get busy doing Fedora stuff. So that like my goal was like just get my foot in the door, like get my hands on something so that like when I come back to a job, I can basically have something that I can just kind of continue to contribute to. Um, and my background is in like SRE and enterprise architecture. So for me, all this data stuff was like boxes on a PowerPoint, like this box of like, oh, we clean the data over here. Or maybe running the servers or figuring out some of the resiliency of like how do we make sure the data got from A to B and that kind of stuff, but not the hands-on cleaning up ancient schemas that are inconsistent and all that kind of stuff. And so I was just kind of looking for something to do in Fedora, and the journey is kind of funny. I'll spare you it, but I was like, it seems like a good idea to measure, like how many contributors we have if we have a goal of having more contributors. And so maybe I'll start working on that. And eventually I peeled back all the onion layers of like, oh, this isn't just us. There's like this whole community that's trying to do this, and they've already built some of the tools for this and blah, blah, blah. So I eventually found Adrian, who has been kind of like, guiding me towards CHAOSS. I'm also like neck deep in the work that I'm doing now. So I've been like meaning to get my head into the CHAOSS space and meet y'all and figure out like what's going on here, because obviously like the goals are 100% aligned. But Fedora has a situation where we want to measure the health of the entire community, not just the software development portion of it, right? And so for us, like activities that people are doing, which may indicate the health or the non-health of parts of our community, are like, did somebody SSH into a server or run one of our like maintenance scripts against one of our databases, or did somebody hold the hand of a new member and mentor them, or in like our matrix chat, or a bunch of different things. Did one of our graphics design people make any progress on our logos, even though that might not be represented anywhere in like a git commit or an issue or anything like that, right? Because that all happens like in chat and outside tools, maybe like Figma kind of stuff. So we have like a much broader set of activities that we want to measure to kind of roll up into community health. And for better or worse, we have some data sets that are ancient, like going back to 2012. that we've already developed some, like, other people have developed some like preliminary analysis against, and we are kind of like attached to what we have. So we want to make sure that we are still, whatever we do moving forward, we're still able to analyze our like unique data sets, while also trying to incorporate like stuff, like all the stuff that CHAOSS is doing, plus all the other things that nobody is doing that we want to figure out how to add. So to me, all that was like, obviously we need some sort of like a data lake or a lake house or a warehouse. We need a we need a place to put a bunch of data, because some of this stuff is in like CSV files. Some of it's actually coming out of like server logs. We do have a large data set that's in Postgres, but it's like, there's like a column, which is like just a text column. And that column has like the JSON messages for like literally like hundreds of millions of messages. So it's like not in a good place where anybody can get to it and where we can run analysis on it. So that's kind of the goal I've undertaken for myself. And I feel like, I don't know, I'm definitely like, I'm used to being like a super senior, right? Like enterprise architecture. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what is this Parquet business? Or, like what's the difference between Parquet and Avro, or, like all this like lower level stuff. And I'm like, I don't even know what this is. And, I've like noodled with data over time, but I'm definitely not like brushed up on my statistics or my Python notebook ease and that kind of stuff. So, so I've made some decisions more or less on my own from what I can gather from Google, and like Claude is probably sick of me asking like data engineering questions. But
Claude has no
obviously,
emotions,
like,
sir.
what's that?
Claude has no emotions.
Yeah, exactly. Which is great, because otherwise they'd be super annoyed with me. Yes. So I see on the agenda here, somebody wrote like Robert Wright. So Robert started some initial efforts. There's a data set that we have called Data Nomer. That's the big like legacy data set that we have. That there's been like, I'm still learning the history here, but apparently there've been a bunch of like groups that tried to get to the point of having community health
Oh
metrics
yeah.
for Fedora, and they failed for various reasons. And I found some of like the postmortems of like, this is why we failed and that's why we failed. But all of them kind of did seem to mention like, we really wanted to leverage Data Nomer and couldn't, basically. And so Robert has been doing a bunch of work, or I should say maybe did a bunch of work on his own to get access to that and figure out how to analyze it. But he did so in a way that was kind of very targeted towards, this is the exact metric that I want to pull out of this data set. And so it wasn't like more broadly useful in terms of like blending it with maybe other data sets, like maybe stuff that is coming from the CHAOSS tooling. And he
One
also,
thing I
for
would
like
point out with CHAOSS tooling, like you have CHAOSS metrics and definitions, and then you have like the software tools that are kind of two different worlds. And
okay,
so it's good
yeah,
to note that like pretty much everybody in this call that are in like little different sects goes about getting our data in completely different ways. And
okay,
so like this is like a methodology space, I would say. I guess I'm people like
yeah.
me
I noticed
speak
there's
up.
kind of like the methodology, and then there's like multiple tools, and so
Yeah, and so when you're looking for feedback of like how should I go about doing this? How do I should I be analyzing in this way to answer this question? Like this is definitely the right group to go about it, and that it doesn't need to be tool agnostic in any way.
okay,
Yeah, and
yeah,
I would also mention that, if you look at a lot of the chaos metrics that get around some of the contributions that are not necessarily found in GitHub, some of that, like we have suggestions for gathering that data, and a lot of it is like get it via a survey, for example.
yeah,
So
right.
there's lots of ways that you can approach this. Do you want to, because we're about out of time, we end at 10 till the hour. Do you want us to put in the agenda for an upcoming meeting to have you maybe come in and present some of the stuff that you've done and maybe ask questions about how to make it better, or how can we best help you?
Sure, yeah, yeah. So I definitely could use all the help that anybody's willing to give. And so right now, I don't have, how to put this. Most of my work has been about cleaning up old data, so that we can
Oh,
have
we
something
talk
to
about
get
that a
into
lot
the lake
here.
house. Yeah, but
Welcome to the data
but
space.
yeah,
90% of
but
our work is
I
cleaning.
I do feel like I could, you know, use somebody to bounce ideas off of in terms of the lake house that I'm intending to build. Once I have some clean data to put into it, and obviously, like any tips and tricks, I'm sure like what I'm doing, yeah, is not. I'm not like the only person in the world who's ever had to do this. There's probably much better ways to do it than I've discovered so far. So yeah, and then once we get to the point that we have this data in an accessible, analyzable place, the next step would be to figure out how do we integrate with, how do we leverage all the tooling that you guys are using, like Augur and so forth, so that we can kind of start trying to figure out what goes where. If we want to measure X and it's not currently being measured anywhere, should we upstream that into one of the CHAOSS or Project Aspen things, or should we figure out how to get that CHAOSS stuff into our data lake so that we can blend it with this other news source, like all that architecture stuff. So
I'm excited y'all are here. Each time that somebody's analyzing and coming at a different angle, it adds a new dimension to this group. So I'm excited to
yeah,
help you all learn from other people's stuff, even if you feel like you're like, oh, I'm the most like going about this in the most naive way. A lot of times that's just like data analysis is not like cut, dry, and simple in the way that maybe like DevOps is.
right.
And we can all learn a lot from each other by different people's use cases and hearing about them.
Yeah, I kind of wish
Yeah,
Sophia was here. She works at Google and she does basically data science there, and she's on maternity leave right now, so she's not here. She'll be back in about a month. But she often brings questions like this into the data science working group. You know, hey, I've got this problem and I'm having a hard time organizing the data, or have you seen this, or how would you do this? And so we have a lot of these kind of conversations in this group. So I think it's great. So you can see here I've added it to the a future meeting. So I assume you're in the Chaos Slack.
I'm in the Slack. Yeah, I haven't signed up for any of the calendars yet. Actually, like Adrian just kind of pinged me in the Fedora side, like, hey, there's a meeting right now. You should come to it. So I need to figure out how to like get my foot in the door here and get integrated with you guys.
Well, we're cool. We'll coordinate on Slack and when the best time to bring this in is.
Okay.
It's no rush whenever you're ready.
Yeah,
The Slack group is very active, and you can, if you go into the calendar on the CHAOSS website, you can like subscribe to it, and then it shows up on your calendar, and it's very nice. And
Yeah, but definitely follow up because even if this is like low dimensionality data, but it's like event driven and we've got like, it sounds like 13, 14 years worth, that unlocks some algorithms I would be curious about playing with. So I would definitely want to hear more about the data set.
yeah, happy to share.
All right.
It's
This,
extremely high dimension. Like, by the way, there's like a ton of very unique types of messages in there, and each one has their own very complex schema. So
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll give it a look. Okay. This time, is there anything else on the agenda that I am now missing or not?
I think we're
Okay.
good.
Okay, I think we will plan to meet again in 2 weeks, but in the meantime, we will see you all on Slack.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Nice to
Have a
meet you.
nice day.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.